Wanted to follow up on the line of questioning that Senator Ament began with you, and just so that I fully understand, are all of the towers from Open Sky system being utilized with this new P25 system? You referenced that we had 1,100 towers, we're going down to 120 towers. Is that correct?
The benefit to the Commonwealth from the previous radio system, Senator, first and foremost is we have a microwave system in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania that is second to none anywhere in the country, which is a benefit of the 800 megahertz system that is currently deployed. I believe there will be 173 towers that will remain from the Open Sky network. My understanding is that approximately 450 of the towers, again, everything is in the definition when you speak to the tower. Many of the sites that I'm referencing here, those 450, are simply nothing more than a phone pole with an antenna attached to the top of that have been introduced into the system to boost coverage within a specific geographic area. So they're not the actual large structural towers that you think of. You know, that we have some of those, but not all of those are of that type or design.
So currently, then, are those towers owned by the Commonwealth that we're no longer going to be using, whether it's a large metal structure or whether it's a pole with an antenna? Those are owned or those are leased by the state police?
Both, ma'am. Both. We have some that are on Commonwealth property, such as land that's owned by DCNR, and others that are on property that we pay a lease for.
Okay. So I'm sure, as you probably know, one of the issues that I've worked fairly diligently on over the past several years with Representative Pam Snyder has been increasing statewide access to high-speed internet. You know how valuable communications are for you. They're also important for other emergency responders and people in general. Recently, there was a study done by the Center for Rural Pennsylvania, and it says that approximately 11 million Pennsylvanians lack access to high-speed internet. So we introduced, Representative Snyder and I introduced a piece of legislation last year that would require DGS to inventory all State Department, agency, commission, institution-owned assets to assist in the provisioning of high-speed internet. I know that there were some concerns with regard to that legislation, and so I just am wondering if some of these assets that are, in a sense, being decommissioned could potentially be utilized for the further deployment of high-speed internet.
I would hate to speak to that, Senator. I'm sure that many of the assets could probably be repurposed, and again, that's only an assumption on my part. Mm-hmm. Again, our interest is in public safety, and my understanding is you know, the top section of that tower is obviously the most critical for that purpose. So any repurposing or reutilization of any assets where public safety would have an antenna deployed, our interest would be in protecting that to make sure that we have the critical tower space that we need.
Absolutely. That would be our first priority for certain. But certainly it would be nice to have your support and cooperation going forward. We've discussed reintroducing the legislation, and if that's something that we could have further conversations about, it would be very, very helpful, particularly if it's not those towers or those parts of the towers are no longer being utilized for your communications. So sort of switching gears here, January was Human Trafficking Awareness Month. We have legislation that would comport the definition of what human trafficking is to the federal standard. It would also increase penalties and fines on those who traffic individuals and those who patronize individuals that are being trafficked. living along the Interstate 83 corridor. My district is right along, it surrounds Interstate 83 coming from Baltimore up to Harrisburg. This has been a major highway for traffickers. Could you tell me a little bit about what the state police has been doing to combat human trafficking, and how we as a legislative body can assist in a shared goal of stopping this horrendous crime?
Our Bureau of Criminal Investigations is very active in human trafficking investigations within the state and in cooperation with all our federal partners. We have had additional training that's been pushed out to the members on what to, specifics on how to conduct the investigations, what to look for, and so forth. We would welcome working with you for any legislation that you may seem to pursue.
It's Senate Bill 60, and
okay.
I would very much welcome your input on strengthening it and a partnership into combating this crime. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.